to order. Can we all rise for a prayer or a moment of silence from Councilman Hendrickson?
Dear Lord, as we begin this meeting, we ask for your clarity and focus. Remove any distractions or confusion that may hinder our progress. Help us to stay focused on the tasks at hand and give us the insight needed to address every issue clearly and effectively. May our minds be sharp and our discussions fruitful. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One more thing while we're standing. We have a birthday today, and I thought maybe we could all sing him happy birthday. Happy birthday, Matthew. And so he didn't want nobody to know, but I found out. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matt. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, everyone. Now, can we have roll call, please?
You'll pay for that, Ken.
I know.
Councilor Hendrickson.
Here.
Councilor Ludwig.
Here.
Councilor Mangini is absent. Councilor Nasuda. Here. Mayor Nelson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
Here.
Councilor Russo.
Here.
Councilor Santinella.
Here.
Councilor Ungary.
Here.
Councilor Sakala.
Here.
And Councilor Crisati.
Here.
10 members are present, 1 is absent.
Thank you, Sheila. In the event of a fire and emergency, there's 2 means of exits out of the council chambers. You can exit out the rear doors and travel a safe distance away from the building, or exit the side doors, go down 1 flight of stairs, and out the rear doors, also a safe distance from the building. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of September 15th, 2025.
So moved.
Motion's made and seconded. Are there any comments, corrections, or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? We have 1 abstention. And the regular meeting of September 15th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Comments, corrections, or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Also 1 abstention. Thank you. Tonight, we have no special guests, so we'll move right into public communications and petitions. Any person who wishes to address the council shall first be recognized by the chair, and shall state their name and address for the record. They shall limit their remarks to 5 minutes. After each person who desires has had the chance to speak, those desiring to speak a second time will be permitted to do so, and shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. During public communications, item 7 on the agenda, public members shall limit their remarks to 2 rounds, 8 minutes. During public communication, item 16 on the agenda, if prior to 11 p.m., each person shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Public communication shall be limited to 1 hour unless extended by a majority vote of the council. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any individual member. All remarks addressed to the administration of the town shall be addressed to the town manager and not an individual employee. Public members shall observe proper decorum, good conduct, and shall refrain from personalities and improper language. Who would like to come up and speak? Ma'am?
I think the red light's already on. Do it? Looks like it's on. Yeah, now it's on. Okay. Marjorie Gandassi, 31 Fruit Terrace. I have a couple of comments tonight. I was very happy to see on October 1st that the Patch reported that the Enfield police were out in force during traffic stops for safety and rules of the road. I was disappointed that they weren't giving out tickets. I'm sorry. I think we are way past telling people to slow down. We've been doing that for years, and it doesn't work. So I think you've heard a lot of angry people about the speed, and I really think the tickets need to go out now. The second comment I had is the warming station was nixed by the council. I'm not sure I understand why. is there an alternative plan, is my question. I think we need to have some compassion and caring for people that don't have the means to stay warm this winter. And the next item is something I just have a question about, because the subject of apartments has come up several times recently, once for the mall, once for Mass Mutual, and previously for Felician Sisters. And I don't have an idea of what the vacancy rate is for apartments in Enfield. Do we need more apartments? I don't know. And what's the rationale to deny one over the other? I'm not sure I get what the criteria is for us to approve or not approve. And then the last item I have is there a traffic study being planned for this town? Because we can't handle the traffic we have. Hazard Avenue and Elm Street are jammed all the time. And we're gonna add to that. So I think if we don't have one going on, we should. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. Sir?
Paul Bengola for Holly Lane. Currently, there's a large road milling machine parked in front of my residence. And the person delivering tonight said that they're going to mill the road and pave it within 2 weeks. We understand that Holly Lane was supposed to be done next year as a full reclamation. So just trying to get clarification if this is going to be Ridge Road or.
Excuse me, Paul. Paul, can you turn the mic on? They're not getting it in the TV.
Sorry.
Thanks.
So, that's essentially my question. Is it Ridge Road, Holly Lane? And, if it's Holly Lane, this was in the budget for a full reclamation, not a quick patch job, so to speak. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Paul. Mary Ann?
Leave that button down and it'll always work. Mary Ann Turner, 7 Meadow Road. Through the mayor to the town manager, happy birthday. I guess I need to start baking. To my favorite town manager. Small thing. I was over by the, down on Pearl Street. I'm so sorry, I can never remember the name of the Puerto Rican restaurant there, but I eat there all the time. But one of the things I noticed is that folks are, always traveling across from Corona's Market to the parking lot. There's no crosswalk. So could we throw a little paint on the street maybe and just put a crosswalk from their driveway to the parking lot? I just think I mean, again, we know that people don't always slow down, but maybe they're a little more likely to if they see a crosswalk, because there's a lot of folks who make that cross to that parking lot. So I'm just tossing that out. If you need it in writing or something, just let me know. I'll draft it up. I'm here tonight to actually talk to the residents of Enfield. I want to raise the alarm of what's happening on King Street, directly across from St. Patrick's Cemetery. The land there is being cleared, and as of today, and I want to make it clear, there is no formal application has been submitted, but my gut tells me this may be a truck stop or a truck parking lot or a truck something. But here's the truth. If we wait until a developer files the paperwork, it will be too late. I am asking the public to take action now. The Planning and Zoning Commission has the power to change zoning rules before the application is ever filed, and they can and we need to understand what that means. You saw it already when in the Stop and Shop Plaza, they changed the zone for the 99 restaurant so that they could put in a car wash, and a lot of the public was taken off guard because they didn't realize that. And I think it's because they just don't know how the game is played. And so this is why I'm trying to get it out there early. Once the zoning is altered, our ability to oppose it, like a truck stop, is gone. And that's exactly what you're finding with the zone for the special design district with the mall. We've seen this happen before at the Stop and Shop Plaza. They changed it, and now we have a car wash replace what was once zoned a restaurant. This is not the first time Enfield has faced this fight. Back in 2011, residents packed the town hall to oppose a zoning text amendment pushed by Love's Travel Stops that would have created a highway service zone to allow trucks stop along I-91 near King Street. Neighbors spoke out then and about the traffic, the noise, the pollution, and the harm to nearby homes and community spaces. The public said no in 2011, and they must say it again today. A truck stop or a massive parking lot next to one of our community's most sacred sites would alter the character of the neighborhood. That's why your voice is needed this week. The Planning and Zoning Committee meets on Thursday, October 9th at 7 o'clock. This subject can be raised during public participation because it will not be on their agenda because nothing's happened yet. And it's at the very beginning of the meeting. And so I'm asking people to please get up and come in. Tell the commission now what we told them in 2011, no. And our answer is still no. Just because a builder or developer asks for something in Enfield does not mean they should get it. Look no further than the special design district created for the Enfield Square. Has that new zoning district helped shape the future we want? In my opinion, no. And there's not much we're going to be able to do about stopping it because we've already passed it. Or has it simply opened the door to projects that don't match our community's vision, which is why we did the POCD? We need to act now. The public must speak out. They must be loud and clear, and they need to do it immediately. And that means that you need to keep that conversation alive over the next, it could be a few months, it could be a year, it may be for the next 10 years. Folks, we don't want a truck stop at Enfield before zoning changes are pushed through. Your voice matters. If you care about the future of King Street, about protecting the cemetery area, or about preserving the integrity of the neighborhood, then please come forward. Let's make the PZC and the council hear us before it's too late. And I've got a quote. "We residents have to be vigilant from this point on," said Anne Marie Olson, insisting that just voicing opposition at this hearing was not the end of the battle. She said that in 2011, and I don't even know who Anne Marie Olson is, so I hope you don't mind that I used your quote. Folks, I'm just saying we need to be vigilant. We've had too many things change in Enfield. We have a lot of stuff happening that's going to change this, just who we are today in the next 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Angela? Thank you.
Good evening. Angela Foss, 16 Crescent Beach Drive. First, I request that the packet that I'm handing out be put in the meeting minutes for this evening to be a reference for the residents of the town. I submitted much of this packet when I spoke on February 5th, 2024. Upon referring back to the minutes of that meeting, it appears that my packet was left out. The health of the Parkman Elementary School students and teachers is at risk. I was here 20 months ago to tell you about the problems with the Parkman roof. Today, I will use stronger words to describe what is happening. Quite honestly, I'm shocked and saddened that I'm here once again to speak about the Parkman roof. Today, I'm here to tell the people of Enfield about the huge cover-up regarding the Parkman roof. It's been going on for years. The roof has been leaking. This should not surprise you, members of the town council, as you have seen pictures of the poor condition of the roof in the roof referendum special meeting on March 1st, 2021. This was more than 4.5 years ago. Those present at that meeting were Councilors Sakala, Crisati, Ludwig, Mangini, and Ungary. The presenters were the Director of Public Works, Donald Nunes, and Deputy Director of Works, Jeffrey Lenowitz. This began with Mr. Lenowitz stating that all of the roofs had been surveyed, and Parkman was listed as the first roof to be completed. And then the roof plan was presented. It sounded like a great plan, except it never happened. Now, those of you who are home listening and those in the audience, would you consider this a cover-up or a concealment? This is what happens. As the roof continues to leak, the following day the drop ceiling tiles are removed and replaced to hide the leak. What happens when a school roof leaks? Well, there's a huge space between the roof and the drop ceiling tiles. What do you think may collect in the darkness? Any ideas? Doesn't this sound like a cover-up, which is a planned effort to conceal a wrongful act or situation? Or is this a concealment to keep from sight, to hide? So this is either a cover-up or a concealment. Members of the town council, I have told you this. I have presented you with photo proof, a letter from the physical education teacher about the leaks impacting her classes. And yet the parkment roof on the town public works site still stands at 0%. Nothing has been done, not even the design work. Those on the town side responsible for this should all be fired. You are the leadership of this town. The buck stops here. Why are you allowing this? Listen, my dad was a proud Army vet. He taught me that my word was my bond. That leadership means doing what's right, no matter the circumstances or the challenges. Do you actually consider yourselves leaders? If so, then step up. The roof referendum passed by the residents of this town on November 2nd, 2021. Residents expected that you would follow through with this. If it's as important as it sounded with a referendum, and a referendum was required, then why is it not happening? I know, let's wait for all the roofs to age out for one thought. Well, that happened last year. Still no roof. Well, let's put the roof on hold while we wait for the school modernization plan, which still would use Parkman and still need a new roof. That made no sense. So what's the real reason for the holdup? The last time was on February 5th, 2024, when I spoke to you. This is 20 months ago. I presented photos of the roof tiles with water stains showing the constant leaking. I explained the leaks are replaced every other rain to hide the truth, and you told me to be patient, and the roof will be done. Well, you lied. Why am I here fighting for what must be done? You put forth referendum. It passes. You do it. It's as simple as that. You are the leadership of our town. How is this allowed when the referendum was passed almost 5 years ago? Well, if you ask me, roofs are not exciting. But what does sound like fun? Pickleball courts, bandstands, extra parking for those bandstands, spending millions of dollars to take down the Strand Theater and the Angela LaMagna Center. You want me to continue up a little bit more, or you want me to come back?
You can come back.
Okay.
George?
Good evening, George Young, 8 Holly Lane. This is the month that we all dread because the tax man cometh to assess our property, and we have to declare the vehicles that they don't know about. How dare them ask about vehicles we have registered in other towns and states. We are only here 6 months or less each year, and we reside elsewhere most of the year. And the other neighbor resides here all year long. They don't report their property either. We've never reported any of that to Enfield, so why should we start now? Anyone ever hear these comments? Do you know what the #1 form of tax evasion in Connecticut is? In an article that appeared in the Connecticut Mirror on June 1st this year, 2025, which I'm going to plagiarize extensively, the tax assessor from Stonington, who is also president of the State Association of Assessing Officers, stated that these are Connecticut residents who register their cars in other states to avoid local property taxes. For example, you could get a Maine plate for your vehicle without even traveling to the state or having an address there. A couple years ago, Vermont said they had 3,600 cars registered in that state by Connecticut residents. And in Maine, there were 1,400 cars. In one of our Connecticut cities, a councilman was even caught with 5 cars registered in the next town where taxes were lower to save about $1,300 in taxes. In Connecticut, there is almost no enforcement of these Connecticut laws. The DMV said it's not their issue, although there was a law passed a little while ago. DMV got it repealed the next year. So how do we remedy this situation? No one wants to turn in their neighbor, no matter how they might feel about this tax evasion, and that the town is not getting the amount of taxes they should be getting. There have been many suggestions. Connecticut law states that vehicles garaged in a municipality, meaning regularly parked overnight, even on the street, must be taxed there, regardless of where they may be officially registered. If you spend more than 90 days in Connecticut, then you have to pay, even with those Florida plates. The penalty is a $1,000 fine, and I believe the town can go back 3 years. In 2023, the state set up a task force which met 7 times that year to consider reforms. What a surprise. They never reached a consensus or approved the final report. Some cities have hired private firms to help. In 2022, Danbury hired a firm to scan license plates throughout the city. Over 8,000 vehicles were under investigation. The firm pocketed 40%, and the town got the rest. If our town of Enfield cannot do anything else, then they should try this approach a year or two and then evaluate the system. The town can continue to do nothing or be more proactive to solve this problem. The results would be beneficial for years to come if you just do it once. There are a number of realtors on the council, so it would be interesting to hear what they would think of an idea to have the new buyers of homes given a form at the closing stating what their responsibilities are to have their vehicles registered in Enfield within 90 days after purchase of a home here. Any thoughts? I'd like to hear some thoughts from the majority council on this. Incidentally, if we look at the calculation of the town's mill rate for the past few years, then you would see the collection rate for motor vehicles is 94.2% of taxes, of their taxes. Whereas for real estate and personal property, it is 98.5% since the 2021 grand list, and it's pretty steady for the calculation every year. Imagine if the collection rate was similar for motor vehicles as it is for real estate and the personal properties, or just 4.3% higher. The town would have billed approximately $521,000 more in taxes for motor vehicles. If you combine that with the collection from unregistered motor vehicles, the council could probably reduce our mill rate. It is time for the council and the town manager to just look into that. Incidentally, how's our annual financial report coming for the year 2024? If so, can we get an update? Thanks.
Thank you, George. Anyone else? Ma'am?
Good evening. Megan Kelly, 4 Trevor Drive. Tonight, I wanted to speak to you all, along with my fellow residents and future elected leaders, about responsibility, both fiscal and environmental. I love to see initiative being taken for projects like the Rundown Mall and the upcoming potential opportunities for our schools and the annex. My concern lies with the long term. We have seen what happens when we don't budget long term for maintenance and repairs with regards to our buildings, playgrounds, and fields. I will speak to the places I know best, as my children and I go there frequently. Henry Barnard has a sinkhole in the corner of the basketball court that's been there for at least the last 4 to 5 years. It's been blocked off with only a sawhorse keeping children from falling into it. The library playground swings have been missing since July. Upkeep and maintenance for our parks, public buildings, and schools, and even town equipment and vehicles is put off until things are actively falling apart. We have schools leaking from roofs and water pouring through outlets, mold and mildew issues, and more. Parks and fields without sufficient and regular maintenance or full accessibility access. How can I, as a taxpayer, feel good about building something new like a pickleball court when we historically haven't taken care of what we already have? My point is, there is something to be said for fixing what you have while you have it. Planning for, budgeting for, and keeping up with the regular maintenance and renovations before they become dire is the responsible way to manage our investments versus rebuilding with something brand new on raw land and leaving old buildings to rot. I like the phrase I have heard mentioned in some of the talks about the school projects to renovate as new. If we are able to renovate these existing spaces, we will minimize the amount of precious land cleared while also rejuvenating existing buildings. I think we need to promote the idea of incentivizing developers to take on old properties before we ever consider letting anyone clear raw land. We need to protect what little undeveloped land we have left and preserve it as microparks, hiking trails, wildlife refuges, farms, community gardens, and more. For example, I just saw that 99 will be becoming yet another car wash. But what about the vacant gas station at Hazard and Palumba that's been empty and crumbling for probably a decade or more? Perhaps there are remediation issues holding that back, I don't know. But why couldn't we incentivize fixing that place up for a car wash before tearing down a relatively easy, flippable restaurant space? And do we really need yet another car wash? The running joke in Enfield is that Enfield is becoming a pass-through town of restaurants and car washes. What is our vision? Where are we hoping to go as a town? I know bringing business money to our town is tempting and a supposedly quick win for taxes and development, but at what cost? What is our long-term plan? What about encouraging and supporting businesses that support our community? Turning our town into a pass-through town does not make it nicer for residents. Traffic is already a nightmare and will only get worse. What we need to do is evaluate all of our vacant property based on the amount of work to make it usable, including any remediation needs. Make a priority list from most intensive to improve to easiest, and negotiate those worst properties first. We could hold the cards in the kinds of businesses we allow and how we allow them to build and develop our town. If the business they want to bring to Enfield doesn't meet our wish list of needs, maybe they should look elsewhere. I also think we need to look into expanding public amenities and services to make our town more of a destination versus a pass-through place. Let's bring in strategic development that actually serves our community and is not just another place to spend money. Things like a grocery co-op, zero waste or refill store, farm market, cafes and coffee houses that feature indoor and outdoor dining, artist galleries and performance spaces, affordable small retail spaces for boutiques, galleries, and artist collectives, locally owned small businesses, space for medical clinics and therapy offices, wellness centers, farm-to-table restaurants, small farms, community food hall, a community commercial kitchen, bike rental shop, botanical garden, maker space, recycling cooperative. The possibilities are literally endless. With tax revenue from these community-minded businesses and services, we could offer more social amenities like growing our youth center and expanding its offerings, its days and its hours, expanding our adult education offerings to include more workforce development, skill building, and certification offerings, looking into developing a community center space, creating more parks, biking and walking paths, and public spaces, perhaps by partnering with land trusts to help with management and protecting our land from future development, expanding playgroups and parenting classes with more diverse hours that support parents who work, offering workshops to our community on budgeting, cooking, and meal prepping on a budget, mending, small engine repair, a tool lending library, low-cost certification classes like ServSafe, Guard Card classes, and more to support our neighbors in finding good jobs, and especially offering activities that are free or low cost at a time when our whole world is getting more expensive. I just have one sentence left. As council members, it is your duty to serve the needs and interests of all your constituents and build a strong, diverse, well-rounded community with something for everyone. I challenge you to keep that in front of mind as you move this town towards the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for the first time? Ma'am?
Hi, Tricia Wright, 66 Oakwood Street, and I picked a good night to come. And I don't know any of the people that just spoke, but I'm in their theme. First, I'd like to thank you guys for giving the dugout money. I wish it would have been done a year ago, September, at my first meeting back, but it's done, and I'm happy that there's that's going to be taken care of. I was extremely disappointed about the warming station. I don't know if that's still in the cards or not, but I still don't understand why that money wasn't appropriated like it was supposed to be. I do have a question. While I understand that there's two new used trash trucks being purchased, so does that mean that the privatization is off the table? Because then I can take the sign off of my yard. That would be awesome. I had spent the summer talking to a lot of my neighbors and also seeing friends in the grocery store, and it was surprising to me How many people don't know that the sports that are taking place at the high school aren't all at the high school? They're not. They're at Fermi, they're at Mark Twain. And what I didn't know, because I don't have baseball in my family, is that the varsity baseball team played at Powder Hollow. So I think that needs to be, I know it's not a secret, I understand that. And unless your kids or grandchildren or nieces and nephews are at the schools, you would know that. But it was surprising to me how many people just assumed that everything takes place at Enfield High. So all of our schools and all the fields need to be maintained. And then I'm all over the place today. We had a lot of teachers leave this summer. And so I'm very interested to hear what the plans are for the town council and the Board of Education to work together to support our teachers and staff and to make the morale a lot better. It's frightening how many people left this summer, how many substitute teachers are teaching our kids right now. That's unacceptable. So I please need that there's a plan, or maybe there could be somebody that decides to make a plan, that everybody works together to get our teachers back, that they feel supported, that they feel that we appreciate what they're doing for our kids and the staff. And then finally, I would just like to say that in a month, there could be a change. There may not be a change, but I am pleading with my fellow residents to come out and vote, starting on October 20th and ending on Election Day, November 4th. Because the percentage of the town people that have come out to vote is very dismal, and I really don't think that it paints the true picture of how people feel. And I would like to say that as an independent, I appreciate and understand that you each have caucuses, and you each have your own plans and stipulations of what you believe need to be happening in our town. But I fully believe, maybe naively, that once you step up on that dais, you are the Enfield Town Council, not the Democratic Town Council, not the Republican Town Council. So while everybody has their own ideas, you need to start working together. Show the big people down in Washington that you guys know how to work together instead of just sticking to what your beliefs are as a Republican or as a Democrat. Everybody has good ideas, and you need to give people a chance.
Thank you. Anyone else for the first time?
Good evening. My name is Robert Sumption, live at 27 Bell Ave. I go to the park lot on Brainerd Road. There's an infestation of Japanese knotweed. Hasn't had anything done to it for the past several years. It's now working its way up toward the main road. It won't be long, it'll be in the houses. It's a very destructive plant. It will do irreparable damage to the houses. The value of houses drops severely with Japanese knotweed. It's there, and something needs to be done in that park. I've called the park department, I've called several other people, and there hasn't been a response. Everybody kind of throws their hands up and goes, it's there, we know it. What do we do about it? Well, you have to do something. You have to use herbicide, dig it up, something. Something needs to be done before it gets up into the houses. There are cheaper houses, without a doubt, but these people aren't gonna know what to do. Once it's in, it's wrecking their pipes and doing other things. It'll be terrible. Thanks. Have a good night.
Was that Japanese knotweed you said?
Japanese knotweed.
Japanese knotweed. Brainerd Park. Yep.
Down by the ball fields. It's now up into the parking lot.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. Anyone else for the first time? Mr. Janitis.
Peter Janitis, 3 Farmstead Circle, Enfield. And Kelly, when you find that community, let me know, because I'd like to move to it. I also forgot my glasses, so I'm using my wife's glasses. I'm here tonight to speak about the Warming Center and a few other of my pet peeves here. As far as the Warming Center, from what I understand, about 70% of the people who go there, or the guests that go there, have had a previous Enfield address or a motor vehicle registered vehicle from Enfield. That means about 30% of the people who go there don't. When Springfield and Vernon and some of the other surrounding communities have an overflow situation, Enfield gets those people. And I don't want to hear about Enfield not having mostly, or having mostly single house dwellings when it comes to helping those people who need to be placed. There are enough empty buildings all over this town that could be modified and used as shelters. I would say Nathan Hale would be a good example of a place that could be redone and used for some of these people who need a permanent place to stay. As far as some of the comments online about the food shelf, as far as I know, the food shelf and many of our stores in town donate large amounts of food. Just go over to any of the grocery stores or Costco and go out back and watch how much food is put back there every day for, I don't know who's picking it up, maybe it's you guys or not. And also, as the Warming Center, I understand that they usually have about 2 people per night working there, and if situation gets tough, you might have 5 to 7 people working there. Between proper scheduling and the volunteers, when needed, they should be able to adequately staff the center. This organization claims to have about $18,000 to $20,000 in the bank to use when and where it's going to be needed. You claim to say that there are no interchangeable funds or services between the organization and the church, St. Patrick's, except for a separate check for the utilities that go to St. Patrick's, somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000. Also, the organization, Enfield People for People, I wonder how much they're donating towards the Warming Center. Enfield this year is apparently willing to give a grant of approximately $13,000. Be grateful for that and plan accordingly. This program is structured right, the way it's structured right now, it takes in about $90,000 to $100,000+ a year. Listen, I don't personally feel that the townspeople should have our town council or the Board of Education donating taxpayers' money. If people want to donate, let them do it on their own. I know my wife and I have donated clothing to the shelter. My wife even got her employer, Marshalls, to donate brand new items to the center. So I think that's the route that we should be taking. If the Board of Education and the Town Council want to donate money, say using Safe Graduation as an example, fine. Do it out of your pockets, not out of the taxpayers' dollars. Enfield is a middle or lower middle class community. It's nice and admirable to do things for the people in our community within reason. Keep in mind, everything we do comes with a cost. We can't do everything for everyone who comes before us. Taxes are a problem for many of our town residents. I've only got about 2 minutes more to go, and I won't make it for 5. Okay. Take the baseball fields at Powder Hollow. How much that's cost the town? What if you put a soccer field and or a field hockey team field behind Enfield Street School and then had the baseball fields at Enfield High School? I don't know if that was even considered, but I know that's where the Ramblers used to play. New pickleball courts at a large sum of dollars also. Like racquetball, like cage ball, platform tennis, all the places that had the high walls where the disappearing tennis courts are, pickleball soon will pass also. Repave the courts, tennis courts at Mark Twain and Fermi. You know there are going to be a lot of outsiders from town, not from town, playing there. We can get by with a Ford or Chevy. We don't need a BMW and Mercedes. Okay. if nobody else is coming up, I'll just...
Is there anyone else for the first time? Seeing none. Peter.
Hi,
You'll be next.
Peter Janias.
Or should I let
Three
Angela
from
come up
Circle.
first?
Look, I know each and every one of you on this town council do so with the intent of making Enfield a better community to live in. That holds true for the Board of Education members. We don't agree on everything, but it takes a lot of time, effort, and I think a lot of things from your heart that you try to do up here. That said, I urge you to put yourselves in the shoes of those who live in Enfield who do not work for a large corporation, do not work for the town, do not work for the education department or the police department, but people who work for an hourly wage and must pay their own insurance 100%. Finally, for all the good you try to do, only 25% of the voters roughly come out and vote each election. Let me put that another way, 75% don't even vote. As far as something one of the other ladies said about the teachers, losing so many teachers, if you look at the teachers that we're losing, they're the ones that are on the first couple steps. And when you look at that salary schedule, you're taking somebody 12 years experience who is on max, making twice as much as a new teacher. And those new teachers, they're not just leaving Enfield, they're going someplace else where they can make another $10,000, $15,000 more for the same step. So I don't know how far you are in negotiations or anything, but that's where you got to put a lot of the money, on the bottom of the salary schedule. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Angela?
Angela Foss, 16 Crescent Beach Drive, Enfield, Connecticut. Okay, so in the packet that I gave you, I know you can't understand what I'm saying because I'm sick. I'm sick, okay?
COVID?
No. I'm telling you that all the teachers, a lot of us, are very sick. That's what I'm saying. So in this packet that I gave you, I have, from before I spoke last time in February, it says on the DPW that 0% of the work has been done way back in February, and it still remains the same. 0% of the work has been done. And I did look at these things, these 3 referendums you passed in April, the resolutions you passed in April about these things that need, these hoops that need to be jumped through in order to put up a new roof, require the designation of a building committee. You're just thinking about these things now. The roof replacement will require a complete set of plans and specifications that haven't even started. We've been waiting for 19 months for that, or more. Okay, so let's see, where was I? Why am I here fighting for what must be done? You put forth a referendum, it passes, you do it. It's as simple as that. You are the leadership of the town. And then I wanted to say, but what does sound like fun, and I've heard that echoed already, so it's kind of cool that I come back afterwards, are the pickleball courts and the bandstands. Hey, I'm not knocking any of that, but the number one thing that was on the referendum 5 years ago was the roofs. The roofs. We need our roof replaced. We need it done. Okay. I don't need to say all that. Okay. What items could have been eliminated this summer to get the roof done? Or this past summer, or the summer before? It was, Parkman was slotted for 2022. Why have I heard that this roof will again be pushed out to the next summer? Mayor Nelson had stated that this project can be done at any time. I did a little research and found that in Connecticut, a municipality's failure to move forward with a project that voters approved in a referendum is a violation of public trust. A municipal body that ignores the clear will of voters could be found to have abused its discretion or acted in bad faith. A successful referendum creates a public expectation and an authorization for the project to proceed. I request an official update of the project directly from Silver Petroselli. I want to know what they've really done. They've had almost 2 years. to work on a draft, or design. I'd like to hear directly from them, whether you send me an email, whether you call me and give me the exact information from them. And I would like to end with the health of the students and the teachers is at risk here. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Anyone else? Seeing none, moving on to councilman communications. Anyone? Go ahead, Mike.
Be quick to the mayor and the town manager on Holly Lane. I actually did go over there. The water company didn't really do a good job of patching, but could you give an update? Right, because we were told it wasn't going to start till the spring, but if the milling is for, I wouldn't think it would be for Ridge, because I think the part of Ridge that's getting done is on the opposite end of at Douglas. That's the end of it, because the Ridge that's next to that part of Holly is brand new, I think, if I recall, or it was brand new or in better shape. So if you could give an update on that, because again, I thought we had discussed that it was going to be done in the spring. So if you could and the road is in tough shape. So, I mean, honestly, if we actually can get it started, I think that's a good thing, because it's in pretty tough shape. But after the water company going through and doing what it did. Thank you.
But if we're going to start it this year, Mike, I think the town needs to let the residents know.
No, I agree. Right.
Because we already let them know we're
Right.
not starting it.
That's what I'm asking for. an
Just
update.
clarification. Thank you. So I'm going to go at this point. The warming shelter, I have been dealing with the deacon of St. Patrick's Church, who is also the treasurer of the warming shelter. I asked him questions. He got me all the answers that we had asked for. So at this point, is it possible to schedule the first of the nonprofits' special meetings? And we'll start with the warming shelter, either our last meeting in October or first meeting in November. And I would ask from the council that we, as a group, put together a list of standard questions. So all the nonprofits get the same questions, so one isn't more favorable than the other. And the warming shelter will be the first one to go. I mean, obviously, their season really doesn't start until December, but to his credit, he gave us everything that we had asked for. And, certain residents and, whether it's politics or fear-mongering, the town of Enfield currently has four of its own warming shelters where residents can go, and that's social services, both public libraries, and the police department is open 24 hours a day to house anybody that needs to come in from the elements. So that is something that maybe we could work with the warming shelter on, that if we support them, maybe we don't need to keep those 4 warming shelters open all the time, and we could save some money on staff that way also. So again, if we could schedule it, reach out to them. Last meeting in November, first meeting, or last meeting in March, first meeting. October, thank you. Roads 2026, Matt. If you could give us an update on when is DPW going to start evaluating the roads throughout town? Because I'm going to be honest, I've done a lot of walking, too much walking in the last month, and Wagon, Conlin, Cedar, I mean, those roads, somebody's going to break an ankle on them walking. I can't imagine what it's doing to the suspension on their cars. So if we could add them, I don't know if the council has authority just to have them look at the roads for evaluation or not, but those 3 are pretty bad. Holly Road, thank you, Mike. You hit that. Marianne, the crosswalk at Coronas, she left. Matthew, the crosswalk at Coronas, I have been trying for 2 years to get this crosswalk. It was there. It's always been there forever. And then they repaved Pearl Street and never put it back. Every time I've asked, they said, well, it ends up in a driveway, and there's excuse after excuse. We don't need excuses, because she's right. They come barreling around the corner on Pearl Street, and somebody's going to get hit. If we could make that a priority to get that crosswalk back. Angela, the roof, again, I don't know why the referendum was put on hold for the last 3 or 4 years, but you were here. We all approved the money, whether the state reimburses us or not. So I also would like an update from you, Matt, to find out exactly where DPW is, because this council, all of us, committed, whether we get state reimbursement or not, we need to get these roofs on the building. And she's not wrong. It's not a cover-up, but I want the answers that you want. And then we have Megan, the library. We spent over $300,000 to redo that park. My daughters informed me also that there's no swings. Where are the swings for Central Library? They were taken down and never put back up. The sinkhole in the basketball court, the basketball courts at Parkman. I have to agree with the residents. It's hard to move forward with new projects when we're not maintaining our old ones. Now, I know you've heard about Parkman's basketball court and you're going to take care of it, but having a sawhorse over a sinkhole, and I apologize, this is the first time I've heard of that, we need to rectify that. People keep bringing up pickleball. And why are we doing pickleball? Well, pickleball solves 3 or 4 issues that you're talking about. The current pickleball courts are in bad shape, and an elderly person's going to break an ankle if we don't do something about it. To Mike's credit, when he was mayor, and Bob, this is not political, we've tried to patch it together. It didn't work. Another problem with the pickleball courts where they currently are, anybody who plays soccer or baseball at Mark Twain knows there's no parking. And the people park in Mark Twain residence parking, and it is a huge problem. So we got to resolve that. Replacing the pickleball courts where they are doesn't solve that. There's no lights where they are. The tennis courts at the Annex, they're in disrepair. They're shot. They're closed. They're locked up. Can't play at them. So by moving the courts to Fermi or the Annex, now we have lights because the lights exist. We're not putting new lights up. We're using the current lights that are there. Fencing. They're going to work with the fencing that's there, plus some new fencing, and the cost was cheaper to do it there. The pickleball courts that exist at Mark Twain, fences are coming down, equipment's being removed, and it's going to be additional parking for Mark Twain. It solves a lot of issues that many councils have been working on for years, and it had to get done, or we had to chain them closed before somebody gets hurt. That is exactly what went on with pickleball, and it was a unanimous decision. It wasn't political in any way, because everybody who sat here for the last 10 years has known about these issues. We just all finally got it to go forward. Tisha, the teachers, you talked about the teachers that were let go when the Board of Education was $6 million in the hole, but you didn't mention the 30-plus staff members, including teachers, that were hired back this current budget year because the Board of Ed is back on track. They fixed the problems, and they're moving forward, and we are rebuilding the education system with the teachers in school. I'm not going to get into what Mr. Janitis talked about because that's kind of over my head with the unions and stuff like that. Brainerd Park, Japanese knotweed. I'm not familiar with what it is, but I know when weeds start encroaching in your yards, it becomes a serious problem. But I do know that Brainerd Park has been neglected, and I've received many complaints about the playground there. So if we could go out and take a look at it, I believe it's an older wood playground, and I know I would feel terrible if it's splintering and a child was going up the stairs or something and got pressure treated in their hand. Can we have DPW look at that too? Because maybe that's something we need to put out for CIP next year and get that playground upgraded like many of the other playgrounds throughout town. I think Lafayette Park has a newer playground too. So Brainerd Park's probably one of the last ones. And again, this gentleman isn't the first one to talk about it. He's the first one to talk about the weed, which I'll have to research now. So That's all I have. The warming shelter, I think people are trying to make politics out of it. It's not a big deal. We're moving forward with it. They're going to be the first meeting, and their season doesn't start till December. So let's get it scheduled. Let's have them come in and let the people hear what they do for the community and tell us, like all the other nonprofits that you guys wanted. So that's all I have. Thank you. Jim, anything? Jeff? We're going to start this way this time because I always start this way. You get mad when, right. Oh, could you like to go last? So, I'm sorry, people. Lori, all set? Bob?
Couple things through the mayor to the town manager. I have a question on, a resident asked me about fuel assistance. Does that go through social services or is it everything direct? She was directed to Hartford now or the website. So that is the way it is now?
If you're talking about the same person that I've been dealing with, Matt did have Cindy take care of it and get her.
Yeah, we can try to facilitate that, but that's all through a separate program that apparently had some cutbacks at some point, and they retooled how residents are to apply for that. And we know that it's been more difficult this year than years past, but again, when we get notified of those difficulties, social services steps in and tries to make the connection.
Okay, so social services will still
Right.
still help somebody that
Clarification,
doesn't
no.
have a computer?
It's not
No.
the town's fault
Right,
that they're being held up.
I understand that. I
Okay.
just had a question to make sure we
tried-
could help them.
We'll try to help to facilitate it.
Okay, that's perfect. Also, a question from a resident, the Washington and Brainerd, and we brought up the guardrail before about the cameras there, but you cannot see if a person's turning from the north side onto Brainerd, coming there or whatever. It is definitely a traffic nightmare when you can't see what somebody's going at a four-way stop. It's a little confusing. So can we take a look at that? Not saying it's ugly or whatever, but blocking the view of.
We've been asking for a
I know,
while,
just
so.
asking that. I believe, I wanted to thank Chief Fox also for his focus on traffic control the other day. I believe they did still put out tickets because they still are ticketing people. It wasn't a targeted, we're trying to hammer away at people. That's what he put out there. He's trying to get traffic under control the best he can. Also, the BOE budget, the audit, just wanted to try to find out where we're at with that audit. I believe that should be coming in any day now. And I'll echo Mr. Young's looking for the town financials also. And that's all.
Thanks, Bob. Bob?
Yeah, good evening. Couple of things. First of all, coming up October 22nd, I just want to put it out there that the pre-K district-wide master plan with Tectron Architects, there will be a meeting at JFK Middle School Auditorium, and the theme is to take a look at the existing conditions of the elementary schools. That'll be the first step. There's a series of community conversations that will be going on in the preliminary stages of the group's work. The other thing, just getting back to Councilor Hendrickson in regard to the motor vehicle stops, and based on our previous meeting at the council, where Mr. Young was talking about traffic enforcement. There were approximately 12 targeted areas in town. 127 motor vehicle stops and violations were made. And they also posted on the website to give people an idea that, this is what's going to happen. When you don't obey the law, you're going to get a ticket. And, we're not going to let people with traffic violations off, get off easy here. If they're speeding, if they're not doing something correct, their vehicle isn't registered, take the consequence for it for getting pulled over. So please take note of that. More of those are going to happen within the next months.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to stress that to everybody. The other thing I just want to mention very quickly, congratulations to the people that got inducted into the Enfield Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm just going to very quickly, Nancy Rivard, Jigalone, Frank Neves, Poe Fimusganza, Terry Preston, Johnny Riley, and Bruce Wilhelm. It was a great evening. The 68-69 Enfield High boys basketball team was honored, and also the 82 field hockey team. Also this past weekend, the 17th annual Allied Walk that benefited their sports and recreational programs. They raised a lot of money. It was great to see people out there. Deputy Mayor Pisner was there, and it was a great morning, early afternoon walk. And so thank you to all the sponsors that did come out for that. And just one other thing, and I know that it was brought up in leadership, and I hope that that we take a look at it about the veterans exemption. I know that you guys started talking about it, and so let's just move forward together. I know that you have to talk with the assessor about some issues, but that's something that I think that we will be tackling soon.
We met with the gentleman before the meeting with Matt.
All right, great.
And it's going to the next general governance meeting.
Perfect.
And Matt is going to get the law and interpretation, how our assessor sees it. We've invited the gentleman to attend the meeting. He can be invited in as a special guest so they can speak with him versus just coming to watch the meeting, because I think it would be more beneficial.
We usually make a motion to let people speak.
Oh,
so,
all right.
it
So
doesn't matter
he's
either way.
covered.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
perfect.
He
because
knows all about
I
it.
do have
We
a,
give everyone a chance to
yeah,
speak.
Okay.
I do have a name and a number of another person that inquired about it. And so when that's set, just let me know so I can inform them.
Beautiful.
We've been working on it, but if I can't remember exactly why we referred it. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, great. All right, thank you.
That's it?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Gina, anything? John?
Okay, thank you. First of all, Mr. Young, on the out-of-state registrations, for 4 years, I have been saying exactly what you've said. People have a car here, it has to be registered in Connecticut, and they have to pay taxes to the town of Enfield. It is nothing short of tax evasion, and the rest of us make up the difference. It's wrong, and we need to do something about it. And there are options. Other cities and towns in Connecticut have done it. Border cities, border towns like ours have this problem. We have at once talked to the same company that was working in Danbury. That was a very successful program. You are correct, that company does take 40% the first year, not every year, the first year, like any collection agency does. And then every year after that, those vehicles are on the tax rolls. I personally don't think we should just keep waiting. I think it's a good idea for us to start talking about this, for us to start putting things on the town manager's website, for us to start just putting it out there that people just need to be made aware that this is going to be an issue. I think we are united in this. Taxpayers have every reason to be upset about this. And if you live here, you have to register your car here. It's just that simple. And I hope we can move this forward in the next council, whoever is here. I think it's an important issue, and I hope you keep bringing it up. So thank you for that. Through the mayor to the town manager, I want to talk a little bit about a discussion that we had in leadership, because I think it's important, so I'm not getting you out of left field. There's no public hearing open on the mall at this point, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we can talk about the mall at this point without any conflict. Okay.
He's shaking his head yes.
I don't see a problem.
Okay, so I watched the planning and zoning meeting that took place last week or the week before, brief that it was. And there is this perception that is out there that the housing section, at least, was switched from 400 units to 700 units. And as we talked about in leadership, the change that was made to the plan was made to create an envelope of space in the in the development area in which housing can be built. And because that shape changed doesn't necessarily mean that the developer is going to fill every square inch of that space with housing. Is that your understanding of what that change was?
Yeah, we had a conversation last week with the developer to ask a lot of these questions, and something just to let all council know, the community development director is putting together kind of an overview that will answer some of these questions for all of you, and obviously we'll get it out. But to answer your question directly, their intent by doing what they did was to give them flexibility on the placement and shape of each of the buildings that would go in there. Because what they don't want to have happen is they get locked into something, and because the way that they're going to develop, they can't do that, then they'd have to come back and go through the process all again.
So people understand who are listening. If they didn't do it that way and they specified we're going to put a building in this specific spot and they have to move it 20 feet to the left or right, they would have to come back for approval to do so. And what they're trying to do is avoid that kind of repetitive coming back to planning and zoning to do that. That is correct, right?
Yeah, that's our understanding.
And my understanding from talking to the developer is that it's the same number of units that their plan is to build the same number of units that they originally intended. Is that what they told you also?
So my first conversation with them when I first arrived here, they had estimated that number to be somewhere between 250 and 4-something. When we spoke to them last week, they're still at that 400, and I don't know if it was 23 or 20 or something like that. So they have today, based upon our conversation, they have no intention of building out 700 units.
Okay, so that 700 number came from somewhere and is not what the developer wants to do and is not in their plan. Somehow, somewhere, someone looked at that graphic, did some math, which I understand the math that they did, and came up with this is the maximum, and oh Lord, that's what they're going to do. But that is not true, right?
What they have told us is that they're looking at that 400-ish number for residential units.
Okay. So I think it's very important that people understand what's going on there, because to watch that meeting and to hear some of the dialogue that's gone on here at the council, at that table, is very misleading to what is being planned. And I think we need to give a developer an opportunity to respond. And I think the developer said in that meeting that words were being put in their mouth, and I just thought it's not in anybody's best interest to be doing that. I also want to say we all have worked with this developer for some time. We've seen the work that they do, and we were impressed with the work that they do, and I think that's why we continued to work with them. And so I think people have to just take a pause and let this process play out and not make assumptions about what's going on. And I think when we're going to have a business breakfast in a couple of days to talk about how great it is to do business in Enfield, we need to start thinking about some of the things that we're putting out there that are very contrary to that perception. So I thought that our discussion in leadership was really productive, and I think it's important to me, I know it's important to the mayor, that we just talk about things that we know to be true rather than these speculations that send people into these wild tangents that are not substantiated on something that is as important as this to the future of the town. So I appreciate that. I think that's all that I had tonight. Thank you.
So all I'm going to say is I concur with Councilman Santinella. We did have a great dialogue, and thank you, Matt, for reaching out to the developer. I look forward to seeing what they're going to present. But I think the biggest concern with the residents is that's what they're saying at this time. And although I understand developing and planning and zoning, and every single one of our houses is on a property that has a buildable area, and that buildable area is set by your zoning laws, your front yard setback, side yard setbacks, rear yard setback, and you're left with a big square. Now, you can build anywhere in that square, but it doesn't mean you can build the entire square because we have lot coverages. Now, I happen to know more about planning and zoning because I've been doing this for 30-plus years. You know, people say all the greenway's gone. Well, as you said, John, looking at all their other developments, they're beautiful. And what it is that big square that people see, the buildable area, could actually be 4 buildings with courtyards and walk paths and stuff like that. And this is just special development, I believe, district. And this is not the plan for the mall. That's not even been presented yet. People are speculating. So this is not politics. Me and John are on the same page. Were you in that one or was Jeff in that one? Jeff was in leadership with us. Jeff, did you think it was a good discussion? So we have to trust in the process, and we have to trust in the boards, and we have to trust the developer. So I just wanted to back you up, John. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate that. And I know we are very much on the same page here. And the other question I had, so that begets the other question that I was going to ask. Do we know what is happening on King Street?
Nothing.
There's logging that is going on, and they're clearing that space, which the owner of that property, I believe, has every right to log the property. But, I mean, we have no indication that there's a truck stop going there. We have no indication of what's going to be developed there, if anything's going to be developed there. Is that correct? Or if you can't answer that question, I don't want to overstep.
I can. I've spoken to planning staff about this. There are no plans being proposed or brought forward on that land right now. Our understanding is that they're clearing it. Speculation is just to make it more visible to market down the road. But they don't have any plans that they've conveyed to us with that.
Okay, so again,
and we have checked to make sure that what they're doing are within the regulations as well.
Yeah. So again, I get concerned over this rush to judgment about what's going to happen and getting people to come out and speak against something that may or may not be factual. And I just think that doesn't paint the most accurate and best picture for a community that's looking to attract people to do business here of any sort. So again, I appreciate you clarifying that. There seems to be a lot of that kind of misinformation getting floated around for that particular purpose, and it's not helpful. And I think, I'll say it again, if we're gonna have business people here and try to impress upon them how great it is to do business in Enfield, this is not the tone and the tenor that you want to be creating for those folks. And I think we can do better because, you know what, I think it's an amazing opportunity for people to do business in this community. And I think what we've done collectively, bipartisanly with the mall and the opportunity that we have for the future here, we've done that by putting a lot of hard work and a lot of politics aside, and we've worked together to create a future. And I think that, that's what we need to be focusing on. So I appreciate that, and now I'm officially done.
No, you're not. Don't forget about the riverfront. No, that was bipartisan. A lot of hard work. I personally I called, asked about any development going on there. Nothing was submitted, so I went there, John. And the gentleman took me through a tour through the property. The owners hired him just to clear the property to make it more marketable. There's nothing going on. But I will tell you, if somebody's there and you want to see one of the most beautiful views in Enfield, take a walk in there. The whole Connecticut River Valley, it would be beautiful for a nice cul-de-sac with some, higher end homes. It's gorgeous in there. I think a truck stop would be a waste. I understand what she's saying. She's trying to be proactive and rile people up over something that It's just not there right now, so. Deputy Mayor Piss, are you?
Privilege of the floor, just to comment on that last part about the possible truck stop or whatever. I think with regard to any owner, any property owner, the fact that they're cleaning up the property to make it look more attractive is a good thing. If people are interested in what can they do, all you got to do is look at what the existing zoning says, and that's permissible. And if someone were to do something or want to do something outside of that, they got to file an application or change of zone. And if they're requesting a change of zone, people should be vigilant and see what uses can be made in that change of zone. And the only other thing I jumped in for, with all due respect, Mr. Mayor, I don't think you were encouraging people to go on private property that we don't own to take a look.
No, I said if he saw someone there, he may want to go. Yes, you're correct.
Well, just, so that
You're
people
correct.
understand, if they're listening, I got it as an invitation. You were
No, absolutely
condoning,
not.
so that's not,
No.
Town of Enfield's
I
not
forgot,
condoning people
yes.
to trespass.
You're 100, thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
You're correct. 100, thanks, John. You got me in trouble now. Dad yelled at me.
These two should sit next to one another.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
Thank you. I've just got a couple of things. Yes, the Ally Walk. I do it every year. It's one of the most rewarding days I have. It's just a great group of people, and it's just a fun walk out there, and I encourage everybody to take part in it next year. The mayor and I had the opportunity to go to the Tri-M Music National Honor Society. Very cool. Some really talented young people in our school, in our high school. So it was wonderful. I was just disappointed there wasn't a lot more music there, but they're a really talented group of kids. ERFC is having their annual Farm to Table dinner. It's actually coming up this week, October 11th. There are still tickets. It's always a nice evening, and it's over at the Fairfield Inn here locally. So you can go on their site, the ERFC site, and you can purchase tickets for that. Pearl Street Library, tomorrow they are going to get their historical recognition. So I think we've been waiting that for a while. Aaron's in the back saying yes. So that's pretty exciting. Marge, I agree with you. I think Hazard Avenue and Elm Street are a nightmare. I'm not going to disagree with that. They're state roads. I mean, it is what it is, but I 150% are behind you in that. And take your life in your hands most days on those roads. So I agree. And the last thing is I would like to congratulate some of our new young police officers who were promoted. Officer Wiley was promoted to sergeant. Officer Wiley's parents have Enfield roots. He grew up in Summers, but he's made Enfield his home with his wife and his new baby. So I'd like to congratulate him. Officer Borowski, Enfield, born and raised, stayed here. He became detective. Brett Rookham and Vanessa, and I'm going to mess up her name, Magnanoli. Again, 2 more detectives. So congratulations to all of them. We have a great chief. We have a great police force. They work together. They keep us safe. And I just want to congratulate those 4 people for choosing Enfield and thanking them for all they do. So, that's it.
All set?
I'm good.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pisner. Anyone else? Seeing none, Town Manager's report.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I only had 2 things on my list when tonight started. But one of the things that was on my list was that we today officially received the fiscal year 24 financial statement, and that'll be posted on the website tomorrow morning. We are still finishing up the 2 single-year audits that are required, but that's being told will happen very shortly as well. So next step is starting the FY25 audit. Related to the school audit, I was told I would have a draft by the end of September. I do not have that yet, so I'm going to be following up with the company to find out where that's at. So. The other item that I had on my list was tomorrow we'll be releasing the RFP for the Enfield Annex. starting officially out to the market on October 7th, and we'll be pulling that back then January 7th, so there'll be 3 months for interested potential developers to submit plans, concepts to the town on what can happen with the annex. Holly Lane. So as I promised, I was reaching out to the Public Works Director. What he has told me is that is not the road project. They believe that is the utility, but we're not sure because it doesn't make sense to them. And so they're going to be checking into that first thing in the morning to find out what's going on. So don't have a complete answer, but we believe that it is the utilities and not the actual road project. So stay tuned, and I have most of your emails, so I can send you something out as soon as I find out. Pardon me?
You said they were starting at 7 a.m.
Roads 2026, I got an update really quick. They are finishing up the evaluations. I guess they've completed the evaluations, the firm has. They're going through the process to verify what they found. It's probably going to take a few more weeks until we have that back. But related to kind of the bigger picture of the process, so the desire is to have it on November 2026. I'm hopeful that we can start having conversations with council in December because it starts happening very quickly from there. So that's kind of what our goal is to get it to you the latest early December. And from what I remember when I was here last, that's kind of was the same time frame. We're a little bit behind what that schedule was, but we'll get caught up and get that moving forward. And I think that's all I can comment on tonight.
Matt, I'm sorry, but with the audit firm that's doing the board, we passed it in '24.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any performance measures within the contract that we signed with them? I mean, look, if the draft needs to get to your desk tomorrow morning.
Yep.
And if they're watching, it's unacceptable how long this has taken. We approved it in March, I think, or April of 2024. I understand you have to interview, I get all that, but the fact that we still don't have a report, can we check if there's some performance? I mean, they do it, I know they handle some of our auditing.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to keep hiring an auditing firm that's not doing what we hired to do them over a year ago.
So I had, when I first got here and this question came up, I reached out to him. I happened to know because one of the lead people was actually for another firm that had done work when I was here. So familiar with him, and we were talking about, what was the holdup, because I saw when it was supposed to start, right? But it didn't start then. I mean, it started much later, and I think there was some issues in getting all the contract, getting that done. And so they're probably, I would agree that it should have been done a lot sooner. I don't know necessarily if it's all going to fall on their shoulders that where we're at. So again, the individual knows me very well, and it worries me that he hasn't given it to me. So we will definitely have a conversation.
Thank you.
And I just want to, for clarification, we need to be clear. The reason this report is as delayed as it is because we didn't get the information to them when we were supposed to.
I don't remember all the facts of what the delay, but there was a delay there that prevented them from starting as quickly as what they could.
Right. I just don't want them to get a bad reputation if it didn't have anything to do with it.
I think, again, part of the issue is the timing of when they finally got going was during the summer. And that's like the worst time to be getting those interviews that they needed to get from everybody in the schools. So it took a little bit longer from that perspective. But again, I don't necessarily think it was their fault that when it started. But I definitely will be following up tomorrow.
All set. Tom?
Yes, good evening. I don't have much to report on, but I do want to update you a little bit on the recycling project in East Longmeadow that we filed a complaint on for the town. And one of the allegations in the complaint was that the applicant, after filing and getting an approval, that the East Longmeadow Board did not give us notice, nor did they publish anything in a newspaper within 7 days of its approval. So we claimed that that was a fatal defect that makes it null and void. And that was in our complaint. After the complaint was served, within 3 days, they then served a notice of their decision on me, which is fine, and the Enfield librarian, which we can't understand where that came from. They ignored Sheila, which I'm sure it's okay with Sheila, but anyway. And they then made a publication about a week later, which was good for us because then that gave us another 30 days to further refine our initial complaint. Because if you remember, we had a very tight time frame within which to get something done and file. So we were happy to get the extra 30 days. And we used that 30 days to more articulately describe what our complaints were and the grievances. And we added a few that we hadn't thought of at the time. I then sent you all a copy of the amended complaint that's been filed now. And so now we're just waiting for more time to go by with them to give some type of a response. And the case is filed in Boston, and it does include the appeal of the East Longmeadow Board of Health decision. So that's it. If there's anything else that happens, it's probably going to be smaller things that occur. And so my thought is, if it's a big deal, then I'll ask for executive session to let people know. But if it's smaller things, what I intend to do is notify leadership. So I would call the mayor and John and let you guys know what these smaller little skirmishes are, and then you can distribute that to your respective caucuses so that we're complying with FOI, and any big deals then we'll go forward on either in public like this or in executive session. But I like especially the amended appeal. Really is a fine job by Attorney Gregor McGregor and his staff up in Boston. So we're pleased with the progress there so far. Is there any question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the update, Tom. Okay, moving on. Reports of special committees. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could speak to the pre-K through 5 School Modernization Committee. So myself, Councilman Nasuda, Councilman Crissati, and Councilman Sakawa, we all sit on that committee as liaisons. And I can't impress upon everyone, the public out there. I know Bob mentioned it, but October 22nd, that's our community conversation. We want to hear from the public. This is your chance to let us know. As Bob mentioned, it's about existing conditions, and all the council members here, they're on the committee. We've toured all the buildings. We've been meeting for several months on the committee. We meet every couple weeks, but we've been through every school, every inch of the school. We're aware of the roofs, and Angela, we're aware of Parkman as well. We've seen it firsthand, so you're not wrong in that aspect. So I just want to let everyone know. There's also information on EnfieldSchools.org, a lot of information on there, so if people want to attend, do their own research and review that prior to attending. There's a timeline and schedule of work as well, and information about state reimbursements and whether it's repairs, renovate as new, or build new construction. So those are all considerations. So mark the calendars. It's JFK, the auditorium there. Let's pack the house. Let's get everyone in there. And listen, this affects a lot of people. This is a big deal in town, all right? This is Prudence Crandall, Eli Whitney, Enfield Street School, Hazardville Memorial, Henry Barnard, Parkman, Stowe, and Eagle Academy. So I hope to see a lot of parents. I hope to see some school administrators, some school staff. And even if you don't have kids in the school system, let us know the best way we can invest your tax dollars, all right? So these are great conversations to have. The architectural firm that we work with, Tecton, I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for any of the council members here. They've been great. They've been awesome. Experienced professionals we're dealing with. They've done some great projects throughout the state. And I feel very comfortable and pleased, and I'm confident that we're going to do some great work going forward with them. So that's the first of 3 community conversations. There's also, if you want to mark your calendar, save your date. I know it's a little bit in the future, but Wednesday, December 7th, there's also another community conversation, different topic, and then also Wednesday, February 4th as well. So, and if you can't make the meeting, feel free to reach out to me, send me some information, some email, some of your thoughts, and I can bring that forward to the architects, and I can bring it forward at the community conversation. So just wanted to say that. But big deal for Enfield, and you know, it's going to be a referendum in the spring, and I know there's a lot of decisions to make. This is just the beginning, but we want to hear from the public. We want to hear from everyone out there, their thoughts, and get their input. So that's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Jim?
We just wanted to say that the Joint Facilities Committee is meeting Thursday, this coming Thursday, and on the agenda is an update on where we are with all the roofs. So we will get a report on Thursday, and I'll bring it back here.
Thank you, Jim. Deputy Mayor Pisner.
So the Veterans Council, in coordination with the 250th celebration of our country, we're planning a veteran celebration, and we put a date out for November. We have an overwhelming amount of veterans in town, 1,200 to be exact, plus. So we have kind of changed it up a little bit, and we are going to be doing it on January 16th. So I'm just saying to all the veterans out there, please, your invitations are coming in the mail. We have finalized them. They will be coming out, but it will be January 16th in council chambers. You will still be getting a commemorative coin and a wonderful citation, and we will recognize your military service, but we are going to be doing it a little bit differently than what we had originally planned. So we apologize for that delay, but we have a very patriotic town, so, and we don't want to miss any of our vets. So, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pisner. Councilman Hendrickson.
Thank you. Just wanted to let Councilman Crissati and the public know that our next governance meeting is the October 24th at 8:45 in the Skidco room for the veteran that wanted to see that.
Thank you. Councilman Ludwig.
Sorry, question to the mayor, to Jim. Jim, I'm assuming the update will be public information you get? If the answer is yes, could someone forward it to Angela, who's asked patiently where we're at on Parkman specifically? All right, thank you.
Anyone else? And DPW and the council, she brought up a valid point about the trash. We've never really addressed the report or any part of that, and I think we all just assumed when we purchased the new trash trucks, and they are brand-new trash trucks, that it was the assumption we were moving forward. But to be clear, we're not privatizing trash. It's staying in-house. There were some changes made a year ago, and our trash men stepped up 100%, and hopefully they see our appreciation with the 2 new trucks that are long overdue. They needed them. So I just wanted to be clear for that, and thank you for bringing it up, because I don't think any of us even thought of it. So that's that.
Just to elaborate further, I did meet with DPW today and employees in that department to convey the same.
Okay.
To put that to bed.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to unfinished business. There is none. New business consent agenda. There is none. No appointments this evening. Next is a resolution to abate motor vehicle taxes for 7 Mathewson Avenue. Resolved that the Enfield Town Council is authorized to do so under Connecticut General Statute 12-124, does hereby abate any tax and interest due on motor vehicles owned by Rachel M. Turner for the grand list of October 1st, 2024. Date prepared 9/26/2025, prepared by John A. Wilcox, Director of Finance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Councilman Ludwig.
So I want to be clear here. The resolution, I apologize, is not written correctly, but that's another argument. The committee voted we all voted, I don't want to speak for the other members of the committee, that before we would abate this, we wanted to make sure they were up to date on their property taxes. I didn't think that would happen within a week. So I would recommend this staying on the table or remove from the agenda till we know. That was the committee, we have other folks who are coming before us, we're asking them for information, they're going back and getting it. I think we have to be consistent. We asked specifically before we agreed to do this. So my recommendation is to leave it on the table or remove it from the agenda till we know the property taxes are paid.
Why don't we table it so we don't
Whatever, I'm just.
talk about
yeah,
it
Yeah,
in public?
no, I know. But I'm just, we gotta be honest.
I don't disagree with
It's-
you. I'm just,
we're asking
maybe we should.
Right, but how long is this going to be tabled for if,
We have our next meeting in a month.
right?
Once the council changes, it comes off the table. So we can't stay on the agenda.
You sure?
Pretty sure. Well, you're the mayor to the town clerk. If we have an election, once the council changes, any unfinished business of this council comes off the agenda. Isn't that correct?
I do not have that understanding, no. I believe it will automatically stay on the agenda for one more meeting. If it gets tabled again, it falls off the agenda.
Okay, all right, we can do that, yeah.
I don't either.
Well,
way, I
one
don't care.
more, one more meeting won't get us to your next meeting, will it, Gina?
No,
No.
Bob just made the 24th.
We're meeting the 24th.
Right.
No, it would be after, but if you moved it to.
We'll make sure that it's on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, can't we just put it back on if it comes
Right.
off?
Well,
Because
that's
we're
what I
gonna-
mean.
Because
It
it's
doesn't
gonna come
matter.
back to
Right.
general government, we're
Right.
gonna make another motion.
All right.
Right.
And then it's a referral back to the
Right.
council.
Correct.
Right?
All right.
Isn't that sort of the way?
So the motion's
Yeah.
made and seconded. Now we need to,
Motion to
A
table.
motion at table.
Motion to table.
Second.
motion's made and seconded to table, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? You're good, Gina? Yeah. Okay. So we have tabled this, thank you. Next is a resolution authorizing Pullman and Comley to perform tax sale on behalf of the town. Be it resolved, the Enfield Town Council authorizes the town manager, Matthew W. Kopler, to enter into an engagement agreement with Attorney Cohen to represent the town in a tax sale to collect on specific delinquent real estate accounts. Date prepared 9/23/2025, prepared by Della J. Fromont, Revenue Collector.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Questions? Councilman Hendrickson.
Just a question, did this go out to bid, or is this a state
Come on up, Della.
deal?
Or John, or both of you.
Hi.
Welcome.
Go for it.
Yes, we did not put this one out to bid. This is actually paid from the proceeds of the tax sale themselves. So the town does not have to pay any funding for this unless we ask them to provide extra services.
Thank you.
Well, now go ahead, Mike, because now I got a question.
That's great, right. We had a different group that did a very good job, in my opinion, back when we did this about 4 years ago, and they collected close to 2 million. It is, just I think they are under a different name than what I,
Pullman and Conley, Attorney Adam Cohen.
okay.
is-
I thought it was Green we used.
That's for foreclosures.
Foreclosure. Got it. Okay, thank you. All right, you have the answer. Thank you.
All right, so you got a question, Murray?
No,
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 so
I
my
just-
question would be, I understand we don't have to pay them, and it comes off of what they collect, but wouldn't a company negotiate what their percentage of collection would be? I mean, if they're charging us 10% of what they collect, who's to say Della doesn't charge us 6%? I'm just asking, I don't know.
There is a statute that limits it to 15%.
Okay, all right, well, that answers that then. All
And
right,
it's one of the very few organizations that do them in the state of Connecticut. They actually are very widely recognized and used throughout the state.
absolutely, it's just people watching, why are we doing, all right. Anybody else? Roll call.
Counselor Hendrickson?
4.
Counselor Ludwig?
4.
Counselor Nasuda?
4.
Counselor Mayor Nelson?
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner? 4. Counselor Russo?
4.
Counselor Santinella?
4.
Counselor Ungary?
4.
Counselor Sakala?
4.
And Counselor Crissati?
4.
10 members in favor, none against.
Thank you. Next is a resolution authorizing the town manager to enter into a credit enhancement agreement for 92 Main Street with Solace Brothers LLC. Be it resolved, the Enfield Town Council authorizes the town manager, Matthew W. Koppler, to enter into a credit enhancement agreement with Solace Brothers LLC starting in 2026 for a period not to exceed 10 years, with a total amount not to exceed $83,428, pending final review by the town attorney. Date prepared 8/25/2025, prepared by Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Motion's made and seconded. Now, did we put in on this, Matt, did we put an expiration date for the work to be completed?
I believe we put I'll refer back to Aaron if you want to come forward. In the actual agreement, we were supposed to put the date, which was in 2026, I believe.
Right.
These are the defaults.
Evening, everybody. Aaron Markovich, Director of Economic and Community Development. I want to get you the exact date, and I had everything pulled up but the actual credit enhancement. So if you bear with me, there is a specific passage that defines the project in there, and it is... Oh, wait. The agreement should be in your very, very large package.
Right.
I believe it's page 9, article defaults and remedies.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay, that's what I'm on.
That's exactly right. The default, it should be, I think, letter C or D. Yep.
It's July 24, 2026.
That's right. And what that aligns with is that's when his building permit expires.
Right, so the work's to be completed by then, not
commence.
start.
No, to commence.
Well, there's a difference. I want the work done.
I understand
I mean,
that.
he can always extend his building permit, and if he replaces one window, he's commenced the work. This is, I mean, we need deadlines for this, because otherwise it could go 10 years, and
So the only response I have for you there, and I understand exactly what you're saying, this is the format that comes directly from all the other TIF programs. This is the standard credit enhancement. It doesn't include that. I would have to defer to town attorney whether or not we can insert something like that. I was just using the standard format. So that's something I have to leave out.
No, you actually, right, when I read it was commenced.
Yeah.
And I think I agree, it has to be complete, because I think, look, the town, it's a good project, it's worthy of the TIF, it's exactly what the TIF is. However, the town has definitely been a partner already in help that project get underway, and the taxpayers have already, again, helped some. So there has to be, I agree with the mayor, there has to be some completion date, or this could drag on. And again, I mean, look, we were willing to, again, this is the perfect I appreciate you actually getting into the TIF, for the TIF, and now and being aggressive, trying to get some to help the businesses, but they have to do their part too.
Absolutely.
So I agree. I don't know what date that would be, but I think commenced is, yeah, I don't know. It's a word I have to admit.
right, and I'm willing to even, I don't care, again, the building permit means nothing. I would say, 24 months, 2 years to complete the project, because our goal is to get these projects done.
100%.
How long have properties, Porter and Chester's been for sale for 10 years, waiting on the right person to develop it.
Right.
And, having a TIF deal just makes it more appealing to somebody else. Well, that's not what we want. We want it developed ASAP, and I know their work. They do phenomenal work, and we want to help them, but, you know, so maybe you go back to them and say, look, what do you need? 24 months, 36 months? Because I think we're all okay negotiating that, but there's got to be a dead end to this. So,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, and if we can maybe change the language and do a amendment to this, that they have up to 36 months to complete this project, then he doesn't have to come back to us, because I know this is important to them with certain other avenues of the project, and I don't want to tie it up for another meeting, another 2 weeks for them.
I think that's
Are you
fair.
okay with that, John?
Yeah, I was going to just say, I mean, make it, completed by 2028 and give him time. I mean, that's
36 months, 3 years.
Yeah.
okay. Whatever.
Up to, they can, if they finish sooner, we all hope they do, so.
Yeah,
And I
if he
think
need-
they will.
Yeah, and well, if he gets in trouble and needs then he can always come back and ask for an extension. There's always that option.
Right.
Okay.
So go ahead, Bob.
Well, you want to change it? I got a question later on.
Well, ask your question, because somebody's got to amend it.
Okay, well, I just wanted to ask, here's my TIF question. The $83,000 isn't out of TIF funds already. It's funds that would be going in that he removes. Is that correct?
This is our fun conversation about TIF and how it works. So it is essentially, he would be required to, I'm going to look back at John here in a second. He's going to be paying in his taxes, and a portion of it is returned. And so starting the first year, the way we have it is a declining percentage. So in the first year, he gets 100% of what he's allowed to access, which is only 50% of the return, and then it declines from there down to 50%. So it's a reducing number.
Right.
Good explanation.
50% of the improved
Right.
value.
Increased amount.
Cost the taxpayer nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that.
We'll keep on trying to get that one.
Yeah, I mean,
Again, this is great. I mean, seeing.
that's what you guys
this is good
created it
stuff,
for.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys being aggressive in someone, and again, it's a perfect project for it, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Maybe the next
But I-
one will be next door, the
Yeah.
Grace Club.
And I agree with your, I mean, do we need, Sheila, do you have the language Ken used, or you need?
I have a motion to amend agreement to add the condition that the developer has up to 36 months to complete the project.
So it would.
But I don't
take-
have who actually made the
Right,
motion.
it would take the place of, what number? 5.1, Section C would be amended to read,
No,
Right,
so
July 24th, 2028.
Mark's talking. And when the attorney talks, we listen.
I just want to know when does the 3 years start? Tonight?
It starts from when he signs the agreement.
Okay, just wanted to make
All
sure.
right. Okay, we got it.
Thank you.
Well, no, he needs to sign the agreement.
Yep, no, I understand what you're going for. Yep.
Yeah,
Is that good, Sheila?
yeah, from the date of the agreement.
From the
Are you-
date, 36 months from the date of the agreement?
Yeah.
Signed agreement.
The signed agreement?
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to make a friendly amendment to the resolution.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor of the amendment? Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, now roll call for the amended agreement.
Counselor Hendrickson?
4.
Counselor Ludwig?
4.
Counselor Nasuda?
4.
Mayor Nelson?
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner? 4. Counselor Russo?
4.
Counselor Santinella?
4.
Counselor Ungary?
4.
Counselor Sakala?
4.
And Counselor Crissati?
4.
10 in favor, none against.
Thank you, Sheila. Next is a resolution authorizing non-union wage increases for full and part-time eligible employees. Be it resolved, the Enfield Town Council does hereby approve, in accordance with the wishes of the Town Council and in adherence to the policy and procedure established by the town manager, that Section 1, the aggregate sum of $155,516.64 in COLA wage increases is authorized for all qualified non-union full-time employees of the town of Enfield. Section 2, the aggregate sum of approximately $36,699.67 in COLA wage increases is authorized for all qualified non-union regular part-time employees of the town of Enfield. Section 3, the application of the increases referenced above shall be applied retroactively to the date of July 1st, 2025, date prepared 9/24/2025, prepared by the town manager's office.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. You got a question, Bob?
I'll follow yours.
Okay, so my only, and it's nothing to do with the contract, I just get a little nervous when we put in here approximately.
I can answer.
The aggregate sum of approximately 36, that kind of leaves it open.
That's a good question, and it deserves a good answer. The reason why we said approximate is because a part-time employee works 19 and a half hours, but not all part-time employees work 19 and a half hours. Some work only 10 hours. Some work 12 hours. Once we go through all the machinations and the ebbs and flows of how much a part-time employee works, so it's never exact because we can't foresee how much part-time work they're doing for us. That's why we use approximate, because I have to keep it true to what the results are.
Okay. Are you guys good with that? Oh, yeah. Jeff?
Through the mayor to the assistant town manager, how many employees roughly does this affect?
Good question. Well, full and part-time, or just part-time, or both?
If you have the breakdown, that'd be great. If not, rough guess?
Yeah, hold on. I could look it up because we talked about it in leadership. And again, it ebbs and flows with what we have for Parks Department and recreational people, depending on the time. So let me just see if I have, hold on a minute.
All right, while he's doing that, Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple questions. Is this come under the purview of the town manager? Are all COLA wage increases not based anything on performance reviews or anything like that?
COLA is cost of living allowance,
I understand
correct.
it is. So it
Right.
has nothing to do
in
with the
fairness to
performance
Matt,
reviews.
he's only been here since July 1, so he couldn't really evaluate employees, directors, and things like that for the past year. But, right, we're just dealing strictly with COLA right now. Same like with the unions.
All right, so your answer, he just came in, so there's been no performance reviews done on any associates?
Well, not from him. He's only had 2 months, 3 months meaningful.
I understand. So my question, are they supposed to be done yearly, or when does
Oh.
a performance review get done on an associate?
Well, there's different philosophies. I don't like to, if there's a problem with an employee, I don't like to wait a year. I address it right away. Many other employee directors or supervisors do that. Some wait till annually, and then they sit down. So it depends on the supervisor of when they do it.
So
I have it across the board.
So all non-union, so none of them get like raises based on performance at all?
Merit.
Merit is what you're saying.
Yes.
Not this year. It's just strictly COLA.
Right, but what he's getting at is if somebody was disciplined and doesn't deserve a raise, this
that can
blanket
happen, too.
raises to all of them,
Are we
right?
authorizing that, or is this number in here for budget? Or is it still under the purview of the town manager to discretionally give a raise of a non-union? I understand,
I'm not sure I understand your question.
I understand that.
I understand what costs.
This is strictly
I don't get
COLA
one, I'm just
based
saying.
on inflation.
I don't get one as a,
cost of living.
I have my own business, I don't get a cost of
it's a
living. So I'm
raise.
just,
It's a raise.
it's
That's
non-union
COLA.
versus
Yeah.
union, that's all I'm saying.
No, I know. This is strictly COLA, cost of living, based on CPI, based on inflation, not merit.
Right, so is there a merit raise on top?
There's no
of
merit
this?
raise on top. Not this year. We're not doing merit. We're
But
just doing
normally
COLA.
there would be?
We have done it in the past, a 0.25% if they went above and beyond, they've had done merit. We haven't
Well,
done that in
that's
a
what
while.
he's, right. So there's two, our employees get 2 raises, and one's merit-based, one's cost of living.
Well,
Go ahead, Michael.
not this year or the
Not
prior
this year.
years.
I understand.
I'll clear. When we did this, again, we were back in the budget. When we did it this way, where we allocated a lump sum, there was supposed to be performance reviews by the manager. So if folks weren't, not everyone just got a blanket cost of living, whatever it is. Cost of living is a raise, okay? You can use terminology, but it's raise. And so there were, and I'm not saying Matt should, he's just been here, I'm not questioning that. But I'm saying as we move forward, though, if you do a lump sum in a budget, which is what we did because we didn't want to have the conversation on the floor where who deserves a raise, we allowed the manager to do his or her job. But part of that was there's reviews, and not everyone's getting a 2 or 3% because some folks probably aren't doing their job as well as others. And some are going above and beyond and deserve the 3. So I'm just saying is, as you move forward, this should be based, this shouldn't be a blanket, we're gonna do COLA every year, because not everyone in the real world gets a COLA increase, and it's based on your performance. And I just wanna make sure that's clear. That was the agreement when we did it this way, as opposed to doing it sort of a mid-year adjustment.
I can say, being the HR director, when we did do merit, I want to say 5-6 years ago, it would be a 0.25% would be the merit.
It doesn't matter, merit, COLA, a raise is a raise.
Yeah.
It was, so you can call it COLA, you can call it merit, you can mix it in. But the bottom line is, to get the raise, there was reviews done, and, it wasn't just a blanket, everyone gets the same amount. Because that's why we went to do it this way, a lump sum amount, which took some of the politics out of who deserved. We left it up to the manager. We had the discussion on the floor, and again, Matt's just new, so but I'm saying this is that's why we did it this way, and we've done it budgeted in this way. So I'm just saying, I think to Bob, I don't want to speak for Bob, as you move forward, we're hoping that folks are getting performance reviews, and they shouldn't just get a cost of living increase because everyone gets a cost of living increase, because that's not the way it works.
Okay.
I think I'm clear on that.
Okay, and just to get to Councilor Russo, I want to say 163 was the number for part-time, or full-time employees and part-time.
163.
Right, and it ebbs and flows based on the season and based on.
Right.
They're not always full-time employees all the time, and there's not.
Are they mostly part-time, though, as opposed to?
Let's see, we got the election season, we get part-timers, we get a lot of camp coaches, basketball, lifeguards. I don't know if it's mostly part-time. I think, and we have probably mostly part-time then.
Appreciate the information.
Everybody.
All right, so agreed to put forward 3% cost of living. So this is a 3% raise, and under the terms of COLA. So all our unions negotiated pretty much 3%.
Exactly the
Right.
same.
So I guess along to what Mike's going is, why would we have a merit based on top of this? The unions don't get double raises or get to.
If anything, unions get steps. Not all unions get steps, but certain contracts get steps. And maybe that's why we went away from the merit and just COLA like the unions, because if we treat them the same, we don't incentivize people to want to leave the non-union to join a union to get a better benefit from them. So that's how we try to keep it parity.
Right, I'm okay. All non-unions should get exactly what the unions are getting.
And that's
I've
what we
said
did.
that all along. But just to say disguise and then we do merit-based different.
Then we get
well,
the
then
supervisors
if I
more
was a union
friendlier.
member, I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear.
Yep.
All right, any other questions? Roll call, please.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner. 4. Counselor Russo.
4.
Counselor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Sakala.
4.
And Counselor Crissati.
4.
10 in favor, none against.
Thank you, Sheila. Next is a resolution to waive bidding for town clerk land records re-indexing project, $160,000. Whereas the town clerk's office is initiating a 2-year land records re-indexing project spanning the years of January 1st, 1950 through December 31st, 1968, and whereas the land records indexing software New Vision is proprietary to Catalyst Company, which holds exclusive rights of access to this software. Therefore, be it resolved that the town council does hereby find, based upon foregoing compelling public interest and in accordance with Chapter 5, Section 8D of the Enfield Town Charter, that it is against the best interest of the town to solicit competitive bidding for the town clerk land records re-indexing project. Date prepared 9/26/2025, prepared by Sheila M. Bailey, town clerk.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Now, this is very important because this digitizing is my birth certificate within these dates. So we got to approve this because we want to save that forever.
I thought you were a lot younger than me.
Yours, it starts at 1950. Weren't you in like 1930? Any questions? Mike?
I'll be quick, through the mayor to Sheila. Sheila, when did this project start?
There was a first part this year that we started. I think Suzanne did a re-indexing project years ago.
Right? Well, Nikki, and then you took it.
Yes, back
And
to.
what I'm asking is, I think, Sheila,
Yes.
Again, I'm not going to be around, but this would be a great public presentation on how cool this really is. People don't realize this work that's been going on now, that's what, 10 years?
Years, yeah.
10, I think, now. This is pretty cool. And I really do think people need to see how we're, again, to what the mayor just said, we are really trying to maintain records, which are so important when it comes to history and everything else. I mean, this is a cool project, and I know it's probably not it's not easy to present.
It's not a glamorous project, but it is a cool
My
project.
suggestion is you should do a public presentation and let people know that this is some really good stuff to help preserve our records. So I think it's pretty cool.
Well, this is how the public is able to access the records online.
Online,
And,
in our office electronically,
Right.
and, we keep the older indexes, of course,
So-
but they're all handwritten at this stage. So even for our professionals, our attorneys, title searchers, real estate people, it's much easier to do your research when you have an electronic index.
Absolutely. So, anybody else? Roll call.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
4.
Counselor Russo.
4.
Counselor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Sakala.
4.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
10 members in favor, none against.
Thank you, Sheila. Next is a resolution authorizing the town manager to sign a tax assessment agreement for 5 Taylor Road with our Town Home Buyers LLC. Be it resolved, the Enfield Town Council authorizes Town Manager Matthew Kopler to sign a tax assessment agreement with our Town Home Buyers LLC for a period of 4 years commencing on July 1st, 2025 and ending on June 30th, 2029, setting the assessed valuation at $418,000, pending town attorney approval, date prepared 8/27/2025, prepared by Economic and Community Development.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor-
Excuse me. I think the dates are wrong on the resolution.
Yeah, because that passed,
Yeah, that should be.
but it's the assessed year.
Yeah, it should be July 1 starts on July 1 of 2026, which is the grand list of 10/1/25, and I guess it ends on whatever 4 years after that would be. That would be 30. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So we remove our vote?
Motion to amend.
So the motion is changing July 1, 2025 to July 1, 2026?
Yes.
And ending June 30th from
2030.
2029 to 2030.
Yes. Correct.
Yep.
Motion made to amend? Second.
All in favor of the amendment? Okay.
He said perfect, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, roll call as amended.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner. 4. Counselor Russo.
4.
Counselor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Sakala.
4.
And Counselor Crissati.
4.
10 members in favor, none against.
Thank you, Sheila. Are there any items for discussion? Seeing none. Any other business proper to come before said meeting? Seeing none. Public communication, would anybody like to come speak? Ma'am?
Megan Kelly, 4 Trevor Drive. Just to follow up on the Japanese knotweed, there's also a patch of it behind Henry Barnard, and there's also another patch of it on that wedge island over by the library on Middle and George Washington, that little kind of thing. So Japanese knotweed is really aggressive, kind of like bamboo or kudzu, and it needs consistent and persistent management. You have to cut it down at least 3 times a year to kind of get any sort of management to it. However, there's some new studies that the native elderberry is a good competitor. So once you've cut it down, getting the native elderberry planted will actually kind of smother any new growth. And then there's a couple resources. There's the Connecticut Invasive Plant Working Group, which is a hub of information put together by UConn, as well as a Facebook group called Nix the Knotweed, which helps put together working groups in different areas around the state of invasive plant management, specifically with regards to knotweed. Another thing that I was hoping to kind of put forth to see if maybe anybody would like to take it up or kind of put forward is community engagement, not just for voter turnout, but in general. Public communication is tricky. A lot of people work, a lot of people have families, everybody has a lot going on, and it's really hard to find information in consistent places. There's the town manager's Facebook page, but not everybody has Facebook. There's the website, but there's people get reached in different ways. So I was thinking maybe some sort of survey that went out to every resident with regards to what's the best way to contact you with regards to events that are coming up, activities that are happening in town, property development, opportunities to come speak at town council or planning and zoning, things that are coming up that people should engage with. If we don't know about it, we can't necessarily go speak about it. So like if there's a presentation that's going to be at one of the town council meetings or at planning and zoning or something like that, putting that information out and casting as big of a net as possible would definitely make it easier for residents to be more involved and be more active, and maybe we could turn out more than 25% of voters communicating with whatever's going on in town. And maybe putting together some sort of new resident welcome packet when someone buys a home or signs a lease here in town. Here's where to get information, here's great contact information, here's our town resources, where the libraries are, where ERFC is, where the community center is for the youth. Those kinds of things would be really helpful, I think. And that was all.
Thank you, Megan. George?
George Young, 8 Holly Lane. I just have a couple things. One is there's a light when you leave the parking lot at either Panera's or the buildings behind there as you go out. When the light turns green on the right-hand side, the green light doesn't light. I just presume there's a bulb out. So I put in a fix-it, but they had me everywhere in this town except they didn't understand what this was. But if you, anytime you go out there, the light doesn't work. And I saw the other day, someone else also complained about that. So that should probably be, I don't know if the town does it, but it seems like we have some people out in Illinois or something looking at it. It was do it by the sky or something. So then the second thing I want to talk about, Colombo Drive and Freshwater Boulevard, those islands in between the 4 lanes on each side, 2 lanes on each side, they're a mess. And especially if you left the post office and you get in the left-hand lane and you're heading towards Elm Street, be careful that you don't get attacked by the bush that's on the left-hand side because it's going to hit your car. That's how far out it is. We need to address that somehow. Okay? That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, George. Anyone else? Ma'am?
Trisha Wright, 66 Oakwood Street.
Trisha Wright, 66 Oakwood Street. Thank you, Mr. Santinella. I didn't know about the annex being possibly sold. Just a little confirmation that the town still has access to all the land. Very good, thank you. And then as far as the warming stations go, I can't speak for everybody else, but again, I'll remind you I'm an independent, so it's not political for me. I'm just speaking as a human being and I personally don't care who gets to use it. I know that's my personal opinion. I don't know about everybody else in town. And then in regards to the other warming stations, which I didn't even know about, because thankfully I don't have to know, I would hesitate on closing them, because maybe people cannot get to the St. Pat's one if the St. Pat's gets to stay open. So I would be hesitant on that, maybe just surveying the other people and how many residents actually come and use them, and they would probably still need to stay open. Please and thank you. And then my only other thing was with the teachers, with all due respect, I closed the book on last year's budget. I know that it's not surprising that I was very disappointed in what happened. I did not have a very good poker face in the audience, and there were a lot of teachers who left this past summer. I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about this summer of 2025. And Mr. Janitis could have more information than I do. Maybe it was some of the younger teachers. I happen to know that there were a few very seasoned teachers. I don't want to age them. And so we lost a lot of good things. So again, I wasn't trying to get personal. I just think moving forward that there needs to be a cohesive plan between the town council and the Board of Ed to change the tide, because the morale is not good. I don't have kids in the school. How do I know? Because I ask my neighbors. So please, thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Anyone else? Seeing none? I'm just going to say, Megan, I think you need to get on beautification committee or the garden club, because you researched that while you were sitting here. And I think you would be a great fit for any of the committees. Please apply, get involved. What's that?
I applied for the Agricultural and Conservation Commission.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I have an idea after the meeting, too. You just give me 1 second.
Councilman Hendrickson.
Just going back to Megan Kelly with the welcoming packet. I thought years ago we used to do the welcoming packet. Is that discontinued? Did we discontinue it for some reason, or? Okay.
Sheila?
It's a good idea. We used to do it.
Not since I've been here, we haven't done one, so I'm not sure.
There was a company, Neighbor to Neighbor. Neighbor to Neighbor did it.
Right, but it's not a bad idea.
It's a great idea.
I mean, with just a list of cable providers, DMV,
Pay your car tax,
all
yeah,
of it.
pay
I
your
know the
registration.
realtors do something. Don't the realtors do something? And also North Central Chamber, which is what I'm going to talk to you about.
Maybe, Matt, if you could have Sheila look into what it would cost to, I mean, because they record the deeds for every single house that's sold, and they just dropped one in the mail. I mean, a simple, don't forget to register your car. Here's, and the law is $1,000 fine. I didn't know that, but that's enough to make somebody, All right, anyone else? Jeff?
Yeah, thank you, Megan. I learned a lot from you. The only thing I didn't learn, though, is how did it get here from Japan?
All kinds of things.
I was just trying to be funny. I'm sorry. Bad comedy. Thank you.
Bad sushi.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.